Current suspension rules reviewed. Maybe he's not alone in that, but you can understand the timing of his comments with this entire midfield ruled out today. On the totting up procedure, Iranio, Carsley and Darryl Powell all banned, and 4 of this side, 1 caution away from trouble. Jonathan Hunt given his first league start since September. Gary Rowett moved forward into midfield with 19-year-old Steve Elliott stepping in at the back. Jakob Larsson and Dean Sturridge are both involved again after injury.
Well, I think that good defensive record is going to be tested this afternoon, and I think a lot's going to rely on Igor Stimac. I think that Yates and Elliott might man for mark, but I think Stimac's ability to sweep round either side, to see the danger, to suss it out against the 2 very good front men will be tested. In midfield, it's going to be important that these 2 don't get overrun. Down these sides here, they're going to come up against 2 very good wingers, but who's going to win the battle? Can Larsson push them this way? Can Powell push them this way? I think up front, you can see they've got a threat. They've got 3 there that will really take the game to them. I just wonder if Jim will be able to get somebody back in to the midfield area when they lose the ball, just to supplement it a little bit. But no doubt that going forward, these 3 here can be a real threat against anyone.
Gary Croft returns for Rovers at left back after missing the cup tie against Wigan, and Gary Flitcroft keeps his place in midfield even though Billy McKinlay is available again after suspension. So it's the 11 which finished 1997 with what Roy Hodgson described as a wonderful display against Crystal Palace at Ewood Park, even though that 2-2 scoreline did scant justice to the performance.
That's a very familiar system, a very familiar formation that we see from Roy Hodgson. He relies very much on the 4 at the back, and they'll be tested with the 3. I'll be interested to see if the full-backs venture forward playing against 3. On this left-hand side, I'm looking forward to see an inexperienced left-hand side, but from what I gather from Roy Hodgson, a very talented left-hand side. Watch for Duff delivering the ball into Sutton, into Gallagher. If he's keeping Jason Wilcox out the side, he must be playing well. Ripley on the right-hand side, a provider more than a goal scorer, and of course the wonderful target of Sutton. Look for the ball played up to him, and Gallagher making runs ahead of him for any little flick on.
Well, to keep close on the tails of Manchester United, Blackburn have to break new ground on new ground. None of the 10 visiting teams to come to Pride Park in the Premiership have been able to down Derby County. It is an impressive record in an impressive setting. Well, Colin Hendry went all the way, of course, with several of his teammates today in that championship success in 1995. I think with reflection now, players of his group feel that it really took a lot out of them to just get across the finishing line in front of Manchester United, and they weren't really prepared for the season that followed. Of course, the season that started without Kenny Dalglish at the helm.
People don't realise that it can have an effect, Martin. I think you only have to look at Leeds, the year they won it as well, and the terrible season they had following it as when they were defending it as champions. Blackburn suffered the same fate, and it sometimes does drain you and take it out of you. That's why I think they're better prepared this year, and with the experience that they have guiding the ship, and Roy Hodgson, a good manager, an experienced manager, not want to panic either, and I think that's important. The players see that. These players are better geared, better suited now to going the distance.
Derby County have their own agenda today, the win that would put them into the top 6. Blackburn have responded splendidly to that major setback at Old Trafford in November, but yesterday's results suggest the need for more progress today. Derby have certainly gone upmarket. They've made Pride Park very comfortable for home and visiting fans, but not for visiting teams. It is a very big test, you sense, for the aspirations of Blackburn Rovers. It's live after the break.
So it's Pride Park for the first time on a Super Sunday. Derby County and Blackburn Rovers. Match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. It is a good time for football fans in the East Midlands. Nearby in Nottingham, Notts County head Division 3. Forest pursuing a return to the Premiership. They lead the way in the First Division. South of here, Leicester are still in the country's top 10. And here at Pride Park, Derby challenging for qualification for Europe. Andy, your first visit, you impressed by Pride Park?
Very much so, Martin. Again, much like Bolton's new ground as well, I'm very, very impressed with it. It's a game, it's a ground built for the future, built for the new millennium. And it's the way that clubs like this should be going, and it's just a pleasure to be here. Wonderful atmosphere, great ground. Must be great to play on.
They've had the highs, of course, winning the championship at the old baseball ground twice in the 70s, some terrible lows in the 80s, and wondered what sort of future Derby County would have, but my word, they've bounced back in some style, and you could say that about Blackburn Rovers over the last couple of years. Here we are, played 21 games, 41 points, and they only got 42 in the entire campaign last season. In their change strip today, attacking the goal to the right.
Well, if they nick a point today, they'll consider themselves safe then. Cause for celebration enough.
Gary Croft, who's certainly made the most of the opportunity, has come his way since the sale of Graham Massey back to Chelsea. But it really will be a test of Derby's defensive structure and how they operate in midfield, where Jim Smith's been glowing in the praise of absentees like Carsley and Darryl Powell, who worked so hard from box to box in recent games. And the sheer footballing ability of Stefano Aranio, another of these suspended players who is always on the same wavelength, it seems, as Baiano, who's misplaced that pass as he looked for Chris Powell on the Derby left. Sherwood. Jeff Kenner. And again, there's a busy run from Flitcroft to drag the attention of defenders away, maybe from Gallagher and Sutton, who are trying to work something here. Gallagher's in! Back to Gallagher again, and Mark Paul made himself big, although maybe Gallagher would feel he hit his shot too close to the Estonian goalkeeper.
Glorious opportunity. You put money on Kevin Gallagher in the form he's in, doing a bit better than that. But it was a beautifully worked move of real patience and real quality.
Well, Porm has become a very popular figure here. There's obviously a lot of publicity for the likes of One Chop, but the Derby fans have taken this goalkeeper to their hearts.
Work it in really well, and he looks for a little 1-2 off Sutton. He gets a little bit of luck, but he just kind of hit it blind to me. He put his foot behind it, maybe not his strong side. Look for power. Just wonder if he just slide it past the goalkeeper either side of him.
Gallagher, the player whose goal beat Derby at Blackburn on the opening day of the season. And probably these two sides were thinking mostly about survival. Blackburn coming off that bad campaign. It was a tight game, and Blackburn got off to the right start. It was Roy Hodgson's 50th birthday. And 3 points, the perfect present. But he will feel his team should be in front here. Headed by Anchaud. Sutton. Alert. Movement again by Gallagher, who's got the better of Stimac. Sherwood at the near post, but not able to attack the ball there. He'd not bent his run as much as maybe he hoped.
Oh, this is a really bright opening from Blackburn. They look bright, they look up for it, they look at it right from the opening whistle.
Here's the talented teenager from Ireland, Damien Duff. That's the sort of talent Roy Hodgson has been purring about.
But normally I'd say he shouldn't be able to do that. He shouldn't get round like that the way he did so easily, but maybe I'm not giving a young lad enough credit. Because he looks to be going nowhere. I mean, he's never keeping it away from Larsson, but he gets round him very easily. The only thing lacking was his delivery.
There's a foul by Stimac on Sutton. is today's referee. It is amazing to think that Colin Hendry hasn't scored a goal for Blackburn for almost a year now, given his previous record to that, but he's well forward. It's Duff entrusted with the free kick. It comes towards Hendry and almost on cue.
The threat's there again. And that was decide to in-swing this with the left foot. Got the option what to do. It's a little bit short, but I think Sutton who gets a little touch on. He has to be brave, Colin Hendry. The boots are flying. There's no way he's not going to be brave. Didn't quite get enough power. Down into the corner. It was dangerous enough for the goalkeeper.
There's all sorts of reasons for Blackburn to go for this game right from the start. Obviously, the wins yesterday for their main rivals at the top of the table, Manchester United and Chelsea, but also the sense that they might be coming here on the right day with a rearranged Derby County side. But what Derby do have is their front choice available with Baiano and Sturridge and Wanchop. And those three are quite capable of manufacturing opportunities for themselves, even if maybe the rest of the team is just holding a more economic station behind them. Maybe not supporting too much from midfield. Sutton. Gallagher pulling away. Sutton can't find him this time.
He's a bit unlucky. Kevin Gallagher just put the brakes on. He just checked. The ball didn't come immediately. And I think that was the thing that Sutton looks up. You see just that little check from Kevin Gallagher. Just broke his stride.
Well, Chris Sutton now of Blackburn and England, with that appearance as a substitute against Cameroon. He's still on the list of possibles for the World Cup. Kevin Gallagher, from Scotland's point of view, pretty much a certainty. Great pairing. The teenager Steve Elliott, across to Lawson. He's a very experienced player with his own World Cup ambitions with Denmark, and Damien Duff a minute or two ago made him look anything but an international, which is meant as a compliment to Duff rather than a criticism of Lawson.
Well, it looks as if he's got the beating of Larson pace-wise, Martin. I would say that, looking early on at it. It's going to be an interesting confrontation. Because of the way Derby play, they don't often get covered over to their full-backs or wing-backs.
That's Ripley, who of course ended that long spell without a goal with a header against West Ham.
I think this is a good cross. I think a little bit more conviction, you get in front of the player and you get your head on it. It's a very, very inviting cross. Foots up, looks like a corner, certainly from this angle. Could even have been a free kick for dangerous play against Powell, but it's a good ball in again from Duff. What I was saying about the wide men, when they play these too narrow in midfield, the way Jim Smith does, and three up top, you can then, if you play two wide men in the way that Blackburn do with Duff and Ripley. And these are two players who take people on and like to take people on. And they know that if they only shift it half a yard against their full-back, they can deliver crosses.
Here's Duff delivering again. Sutton fighting for this one. It's a corner.
Well, that's a threat. I mean, I think the threat's there to see the opening 10 minutes from Blackburn. It's how you stop it. Again, it's 1v1. He's not even looking to beat the player. But it's a good cross. It's where you want it as a striker and in front of you, so you can attack it.
Well, it's been a dazzling start from Blackburn Rovers, but it hasn't yet produced a goal. Got another corner. Deeper on-show by the near post. Paul, recently crowned the Estonian Player of the Year again, and very much a major sporting figure in his own country, but a growing reputation here in England. Terrific ball from Larson, and Baiano applauding it, even though he couldn't control it.
That's a smashing ball. Crossfield, almost perfect.
Elliott. Blackburn have switched Ripley and Duff. So Gary Croft has got Stuart Ripley ahead of him. Here's Flitcroft.
Now what they do, Martin, is when Ripley takes a corner from that side, they just stay there until they can naturally switch over again.
He was the furthest forward for Derby when he got the ball. With the support here from Sturridge. And Rowett has to show his versatility in midfield today. One chop is in the centre.
But that's Derby. That's Derby all about, defending deep at times with numbers, and then hoping that they can deliver the ball up to one of the front men who can then take the attack to them and more or less rely on the free and free play to do something for them. Baiano, one chop and Sturridge.
Yes, it might well suit Derby the way Blackburn have tried to seize the initiative, and that there will be space for the quick counter-attacking, which Inch's side have shown they're certainly capable of in so many matches this season. They have been making chances, they haven't been scoring many goals recently, but that's not because they haven't been creating the openings.
It's a bit like the first half we saw against Bolton, Mark, when they played up there. In the 3-3 game, they were pretty much second best for the majority of that half. Bolton dominated them with possession and territorially. But in the second half, we saw a completely different Derby. That might well be a booking.
For Dean Yates, who left his arms up there and tugged away. But Graham Poll has contented himself with just a word of caution and not an official caution. Duff taking on Larson again and again getting in the cross. Well played by Sturridge. Rowett under pressure from Flitcroft. Who's begun in very confident vein. Sutton's been given offside.
That must have been tight. I have to say, Steve Elliott was the one who was the deepest defender. He's a bit away from Sutton, but this would have been close. And he's not off. Ball's played, you see Elliott. Stimac steps out. He shouldn't be doing that when he doesn't know what's behind him, but he got lucky. Because
Henry's header. We're trying to help it on, claiming that Hunt handballed. Elliott. Derby have been defending better at the time when they've not been scoring goals. How often that is the way. And ironically, only a player that they sold in September to Barnsley, Ashley Ward, has scored against them in their last 4 Premiership games. But over the same spell, the only goal they've scored was the Iranio penalty that beat Newcastle here on Boxing Day. Sutton, now Cannon. Stabbing it forward to Ripley. His power was tight and forced the error from the Blackburn number 7. Kenner winning it back again. Hendrick. Well, they're trying to get it to Duff. And you can't blame them the way he's begun the game. Still only 18, Damien Duff. It's the longest run he's had in the side. And he deputised as a central striker when Sutton was suspended after that sending off at Old Trafford and got 2 goals in the game against West Ham. Yates with the free kick. Kenny slipped, and one chop to guide it down unchallenged. One chop by Arno, onside. Sturridge coming in behind Croft. Sturridge might reach this, does reach it! Well, they haven't had too much of the ball, Derby County, but they have got the power in attack, and Dean Sturridge proves that point.
Well, that's incredible. They've been defending and defending for a while. He's right on the edge by Arno being offside. I thought Croft did it all right, but they don't keep that out. They keep the pressure on. Again, that's borderline. I think he's slightly offside there. Might just be ahead here. Does he get the little touch? One chop he does. And it's borderline, really. It's one of those, go either way. But for Derby, they're absolutely delighted. The flag stays down. Sturridge does the rest.
Well, towards the end of last year, there was talk, as indeed there was last summer, about Dean Sturridge moving on, but he did sign a new contract in the summer, and he's been playing down any speculation. Everton expressed an interest. Sturridge says he's never been happier at Derby. He's certainly happy at the moment, and Blackburn suddenly, having forced the pace here, find themselves on the back foot. They're a goal behind. Kenner. Hendry sends it really straight up into the late afternoon sky. But it's been a very entertaining start to the game.
That's been a good 15 minutes, Martin. And I think Blackburn have felt that enormously with the attitude that's come here, and really, as you say, taking the game to Derby. Derby have hung in there, rode their luck. Got a little offside decision that went their way. And then suddenly, with one of the few attacks that they've put together, Sturridge just punished them.
In relation to the offside decision that went Derby's way at the other end against Sutton.
Fine margins in this game, though. Fine margins.
One shot. There's a little bit of sensitivity in both clubs that they haven't quite got the publicity that their players deserve this season. Well, there they are, very much centre stage on this particular Sunday. Derby feel that certain incidents have clouded the issue in recent games. The West Ham goalkeeper Miklosko had a terrible time, and that was pointed up in a Derby win on this ground, and there's been the debate about Baiano and whether he seeks to influence referees to earn penalties. Hunt, who loves to shoot from any distance and can hit them with either foot.
Well, it gives us a chance, Martin, to look at that. Was he offside? Was he borderline? It's not there. Now, it's when one chop gets the touch there. Now, he is offside. He's ahead of play. It's about half a yard offside, but it is, as I say, it's borderline. It's one of those decisions. You see the linesman's even coming back. He might not have been perfectly in line, but the smile is certainly on the face.
You'd never call Dean Sturridge a poser, would you? He knew where the camera was then.
They're good at that now, the players, aren't they? Red light, where is it?
Yes, it's a good job you retired before we had all these close lenses. Derby lured into a very prominent position when Manchester United came here. They're 2-0 up. They got a point from that game.
I don't think Derby, Martin, they've got here because they've worked hard and they've had to earn their results. They haven't got here because they've been a team that can coast. when they're ahead in any game. And I think that's going to be a feature of today's game. I don't think you'll ever see it at any time, particularly when they're depleted in the way they are, of them coasting, no matter what the scoreline might be.
There's players like Dean Yates getting a run in the side. He's a real miracle man because of the terrible injuries that had blighted what was a very, very promising career when he first got into the game at Notts County. And then under-21 international. And he really does play through the pain barrier. And Jim Smith grateful to have him out there today. Ripley. Here's Kenner. Blackburn do need a win to go back to second place in the table. So Sherwood's flick was rather fired back at him by Gallagher.
I tell you what, if Gallagher could have taken it when it arrived at Martin in his stride and just dropped it in front of him into the box, he was completely free. Match had been drawn way, way wide here with Ripley, and then when the ball got fed in to Sherwood for his little flick, Gallagher was in acres of space but came out the box rather than turn into it.
Derby have three out-and-out goal getters in their attacking repertoire. Players who don't necessarily need the others to provide for them either. They've all got great individual ability. And that's what's making it such a fascinating contest.
Well, it takes a chance.
Well-honed teamwork of Blackburn. Can be a bit of a poison chalice, the Manager of the Month award, can't it? When Roy Hodgson won it for August, we were there. First game for Blackburn in September, their first defeat of the season. And that was a real roller coaster ride when they played Leeds United at Ewood Park. Manager of the Month now for the second time in 5 months in charge at Blackburn. But as Roy modestly would put it, it means that we're the team of the month. On from Gallagher. Gallagher and Duff in the penalty area. Chris Sutton had been involved earlier in the build-up and was struggling to make up the ground, understandably, but he'll be there for the corner.
Well, that's Match's job there, Mark. That was shown there. He's the man that's spare. He's the one who has to pick up if anyone makes a run forward.
Natural leader, and who's really taken to life in England. Duff for the corner. Croft getting to it. Derby straining to get it away, and they should be helped by the decision there. Foul by Ancho.
Yeah, he's leaning straight into the player. That's a good decision. You can see Ancho's got the left arm there. He's leaning into whoever I think it is. Good decision.
Sherwood. He's certainly not the biggest, Kevin Gallagher, but he's got great determination and body strength that you didn't think he would be capable of in a situation like that, to screen the ball. The pass didn't quite come off for Blackburn that time. Kenner. Now Rowett. First to make the run forward was Paolo Wanchop, who has had a lean time of things recently. Gone 8 games without a goal. It was a fall from grace from his award as Player of the Month for October. But he's certainly good enough to come again. And from that foray comes Elliott, only his 3rd appearance in the Premiership. And Igor Stimac has been around a bit longer. So he got a reasonable jump at that.
Well, I got pretty much free at the back post. Look for distance in this, they're not looking near post. We've got good players that can come in and attack it and head it. Stimac would have fancied his chances. I think it was actually Damien Duffy that ended up against at the back post. He wouldn't have been too happy with that.
Damien Duffy enjoys the ball at his feet in the other half of the pitch rather than need to win far post headers.
I was going to say, of all these qualities, that's probably not high up in the list.
In with another header there. Long shot by Arno.
They do feed good balls into Sutton, I have to say, Mark. Flitcroft there gave a great example. If you're a midfield player, the type of ball your front man wants, if you're in the Sutton mould, up to chest. So the defender can do nothing but give a free kick away if he's going to try and get it.
Hendry. Here's Croft. Croft. He just might have thought his place was under threat today with Billy McKinley, who was the regular alongside Tim Sherwood in the centre of midfield, available after a 2-match suspension. I suppose the message that Roy Hodgson is sending out, well, don't get yourself suspended. Croft himself is on that tightrope of 4 yellow cards. Headed by Chris Powell. Launched forward acrobatically by Arno. Did play a couple of times for Italy a while ago now, back in 1991. Hendry. Mawson with a throw. Blackburn beaten only twice. That match we just talked about at home to Leeds, and of course the one that so many of you will remember when they fell 4-0 at Manchester United at the end of November. They're a goal down to Derby County here. Now yelling for handball by Flitcroft. Not the way Graham Poll saw it. Sutton. Kenner. Well read by Rowett. One shot. Now Hunt waiting for Lawson to move down the right-hand side. Just gone back with him. He just waited, Graham Poll. It was a bit of a lunge by Hunt. Referee waited to see whether there was any advantage for Blackburn before pulling the play back for the free kick. Talk to the Derby players, Andy, and they'll say how much this pitch has helped the consistency of their football. They get maybe an extra second on the ball. Very much more assured than this time of year at the baseball ground, which is still in operation, incidentally. If you feel nostalgic, you can go and see Derby's reserve team play there. Sutton. Now Show, who personally is having a very good season. So much so that Blackburn feel that he should be challenging for a place back in the England squad. It's Duff again. Not past Lawson this time, but he still gets a cross in. Sutton trying to screen it down for Ripley, but he made contact with the ball around the area of an arm.
Yeah, it was. He looked trying to get his body in here and just chest it back. He just got a little ahead of it. Let's get a good look at that. You can see quite clearly. He's just trying to knock it down with his chest. But they've done better since the goal derby. It's undoubtedly settled them. It's kept Ripley and Duff a lot quieter. Larson and Powell have got closer to them. Not only that, the rest of the team have denied the supply, really. I think they've found it difficult to get the ball to the wide men, or more difficult to get it to them.
Well, Graham Poll stopping the play straight away. Well, the clash of heads there, and Chris Powell going straight to ground as he connected more with the back of Ripley. We'll have to go off to get a stitch or two there. Chris Powell, who has surprised many here, but not himself, I'm sure, scoring with his right foot in the cup win over Southampton. The left back goes off for the moment, and there's a bit of reorganising for Jim Smith.
And we're just trying to pull Rowett over to the left side, Mark, and try and get Bayano to sit in midfield just for 5 or 10 minutes. Well, they'll have to for 5 minutes at least, depending on how quick the doctor is and getting down to his stand and getting his needle and thread out.
Well, a team that's had to be reshuffled already. And once more, the ability of Rowett to play in several different positions put to the test. One shot, Blackburn get it back. Here's Kenner. Steve Elliott came in recently at Newcastle and showed rare poise against the likes of Aspria and John Barnes. Gallagher. Well, this is a testing time with 10 men in the defence of their 1-0 lead for Derby County. Gallagher. Decision goes Derby's way, to the surprise of Croft.
Well, they'll just take their time with anything like this, or they should do. Well, there's plenty of possession. I think that's fair assessment of the possession that Blackburn have had. But often, it's a major factor in a game. It's what you do with it.
Certainly put together some excellent results since that shock at Old Trafford. 4 wins and 2 draws if you count the FA Cup match against Wigan. Those 2 draws just taken some of the steam out of their progress in the Premiership. Away at Sheffield Wednesday and against Crystal Palace, a match they certainly should have won. Carlo Wanchop doesn't mind what part of the pitch he juggles the ball in. Might not be an opinion shared by all his teammates or his manager, but he managed to effect a clearance, and in he goes with the challenge, which was fair enough by Arno. It's rather played the wrong way by Hunt. Sutton. Duff will chase this one, Ripley coming onto the scene as well, but neither Blackburn player could get there as quickly as Elliott. Crossed by Kenner, and it tempted Paul from his goal, but didn't bend away enough for Jeff Kenner. And Paul able to deal with it safely, but picked possession away. Let's hear from George Gavin down by the dressing room. George.
Martin, Derby hope Chris Powell can continue. They're now stitching him up in the dressing room, but it's hopeful to get him back before half-time.
The onus on the others to be solid, to support that decision.
Well, it's pretty much under siege at the moment, Mark, because they've just all dropped off, basically. As soon as they lose it, or as soon as the goalkeeper kicks it upfield, it's coming straight back. But at least when that happens, you can be set. You can have your system in, you can have your defenders in set position. Not much chance you get stretched if you defend deep, organise along the midfield. Easier to defend that way.
Sherwood. Here's Croft, who scored splendidly recently against Chelsea. The ball for Gallagher. And Pawn, his own momentum.
Well, Stimac does ever so well at the near post here. This is a difficult ball to deal with. The right leg comes out. He manages to hook it away from goal.
Big cheers for Chris Powell.
Job done. Pretty good work that from the medical staff. Get him off and on as quickly as that.
All good news for Derby, a free kick. Rowett to take it, he spotted Yates. One shot pretty easy to pick out as well. Yates slipped. Now makes a challenge. Knocked away by Anchaud. One shot well reached by Colin Hendry again. Derby really working on the back defender. Now they have a corner.
Yeah, that must have been very close again. This ball's played in. There's one chop offside. Quite simply is, by a good couple of yards. So one linesman's working pretty, in fact both linesmen are working pretty well for Derby at the moment. Different ends of the pitch.
Elliott making a move towards the near post. Sherwood got his head to it, then Gary Rowett for Derby, and Duff. There's a break on here through Ripley for Blackburn, who are flooding players forward. From Sherwood furthest forward, Gallagher making up the ground as well. It comes for Duff, who feinted as if he was going to shoot and then hoped he would deceive Derby with a clip ball, but there was no one attacking it or able to really get deep enough to deal with the area where the cross actually arrived. Gallagher, one of the smaller Blackburn players, was the one nearest to it.
Well, you talked about Blackburn flooding forward from that corner, but I tell you what was impressive from Derby, Martin, the 7 players who would be regarded as the defenders, omit the 3 front men. When that cross came in from Duff, every one of those 7 was in the 18-yard box. Everyone had gotten back from the edge of the Blackburn box. That's great tracking back.
Chris Powell with 3 stitches, and they expect to have to put some more in at half-time. Trying to get second in England today. Monday night football from Perth, St Johnstone against Hearts, who are trying to get into second spot in Scotland's Premier Division. Sky Sports 1. Here's Duff. Match that's rather weak, and Duff gets to it again. No one supporting Duff's own claim for a foul then. None of the Blackburn players were up in arms around Graham Poll.
Well, he just nicks this at the edge of the box, but did he get caught? No. Just goes to ground.
Senor Baiano to be equally calm about it if it happens at the other end of the pitch. And that is given Blackburn's way.
It's unnecessary. I mean, he's not going anywhere. You're a defender, you're just bringing pressure on yourself. Not much contact, but it does go in at the back just a little bit earlier.
Well, it's the left-footed Duff to take it. Just over 5 minutes to go to half-time. Blackburn will still feel hard done by that they're a goal behind at Pride Park. Duff with the free kick. Form not tested.
I don't think that's the worst ball I've seen delivered from that kind of area. What they didn't have was the right sort of spread. I just didn't think they all attacked it probably the way they should do in training. Colin Henry pulls away, and that leaves too big a gap. I think Tim Sherwood maybe he'd gone in a little bit too close to Chris Sutton.
As though Sturridge needed some help. He got a bit from Elliott, and Derby rather nimbly play their way out of an awkward situation. Yates. Just getting opportunities because Christian Daly is in our studio today and not out there on the pitch after that unfortunate incident late on in the match at Bolton. One shot past Hendry. Sturridge takes it on. Across goes Kenner and makes a great saving tackle for Blackburn. They haven't cleared the danger yet by Arno. Still the Italian. Dean Sturridge. Oh, it's past Flowers. And Derby lead by 2-0.
I can only think Tim Flowers is unsighted by Colin Henry. He looks surprised. I'm surprised. But once again, that deadly trio. Jeff Kenner thinks he's gotten out of trouble. I think Croft should do better than that. That's not good defending. He allows Baiano to win the ball and then come across now. I don't know, does it get a little deflection? Certainly I'm surprised that's gone past him. It is off Colin Henry's chest, and that's the crucial little element in this. Shot wasn't brilliantly struck, but the deflection, oh so important. And once again they've been suckered, Blackburn.
Well, now Blackburn have to attempt to do what Manchester United did do, come back from 2 goals down at Pride Park.
You have to hand it to them, Mark. They have this system of playing, they have this way of playing. I said Jim Smith takes a chance. I think Jim does take a chance, but it's worked for him so far, particularly here at home, where he's got maybe 7 defenders. He's been in the game a long time, but oh, look at him, still as uptight, excited, keen as ever. He sets out his 7 to defend and says to his 3 musketeers, if you like, up front, go on boys, you do the damage for us, and we'll just defend whatever lead you can give us.
Backing in by Sturridge, who's now got 8 goals, 1 shot 10, Baiano 12. And that's the menace when you play against Derby County, those 3 musketeers for Jim Smith. But here comes Duff, and Blackburn certainly won't feel they're out of it. Show looking long. Gallagher quickly on the scene after Sutton's initial challenge for the longer pass. Ripley. Derby doing this to a team that have lost only twice in 21 Premiership games. Powell. The leggy style of the Costa Rican.
Yeah, they just back it up, man. You look at the 2 central midfield players, and you've got Rowett, and you've got Hunt, and all they've done all game, and they've done it well, is they've just backed up. They've made it difficult for Blackburn when they can, and they've just backed up the front 3 when they can.
Well, Sutton certainly looked offside that time.
Yeah, I thought he was offside this time. They get the line pretty much right this time. After
4 Premiership games in which Derby managed only 1 penalty. 2 efforts by Dean Sturridge, 2 goals, the second with a little bit of help, as Roy Hodgson will acknowledge, from his player, Colin Hendry. Don't get that Manager of the Month award.
He won't want it again then, will he? If they don't turn this result around at the moment. They haven't done an awful lot wrong, Mark, when you look at the first half, Blackburn. They lost the first goal that could easily have been gone offside. And then the second goal was just bad defending from Gary Croft. Great example to young players if you're in a defensive area. Sometimes, you know, Roquet is a safe place to be, or the ball to be. And maybe he should have delivered it then. Dwelt on it, Bayano robbed him. Nick Smith, second, you're 2-0 down.
Yeah, it was tough on Jeff Kennett, who's on the ball here, because he'd done his job well enough on the cover.
No, but I don't think Blackburn are out of this. I don't think that Derby, as I said, are that solid enough in defence where they can even think at half-time that a 2-0 lead is okay, we can win this game. Didn't they lose a 3-0 lead at Elland Road earlier?
Yes, and
this season.
We saw them 3-1 up at Bolton. The purple patch then, that finished 3-3.
2-0 up here against Manchester United, finished 2-2. So, you know, the signs are there for Blackburn not to get too disheartened at the moment. They'll be disappointed, but not to lose heart.
Jim Smith will be saying to his players, don't switch off. You're saying the same to the viewers, aren't you? And here,
it's tight again now. First line was busy.
Gallagher. And then Phil Joslin with the flag.
It's at the top of the screen. I mean, that's borderline again, as that ball's played there. I think it is probably offside just when players go out and they cross over like that. There's no more offside than Dean Sturridge was when he gave Derby the lead earlier on in this half.
Certainly from a neutral point of view, one wants to see the attackers getting the benefit when there is a doubt. Tim Flowers, though, left startled and floundering by that touch off Colin Hendry for the second goal. Oh my goodness, Blackburn Rovers now have got to dig deep. Maybe they can just fashion something here before half-time with Sutton.
Well, that's what we've got to worry about. This is the ball. This is the one that comes from back to front, looking for the flick on, looking for Gallagher joining in as he does. He's looking to get it back again to strike partner. Not an easy chance. He's had more attempts than Dean Sturridge, but Sturridge's 100% record, 2-2-2. 2 attempts, 2 on target, 2 goals.
Flitcroft, close again. The half finishing the way it started. Kevin Gallagher, maybe with longer studs, might just have diverted that one.
A little bit less on the ball, pace-wise I'm talking about. Would have done it as well. So close. I think when you see movement like that and opportunities like that being created, I think that's why Blackburn shouldn't be dispirited or disheartened.
Well, they'll be pleased around Old Trafford, they'll be pleased around Stamford Bridge with what we've seen here at Pride Park, where Derby County really find their new home a happy hunting ground, and it's been Dean Sturridge to catch the eye in the first half here. The question about offside regarding the first goal, the goal given, 1-0 Derby, and the second, you'll see the deflection perfectly there, Sturridge's goal, but Hendry diverting the ball past Flowers. Blackburn, well, can they pull it back? We'll see. It's 2-0 to Derby at the break.
Pride Park on a January afternoon, a Super Sunday afternoon here on Sky Sports 1. Pride Dark it was, another of those that the lights fail at this season, 1 of 3. There's our eye in the sky this afternoon, providing some great pictures for us. A mile or so we are from the baseball ground, where Derby still play reserve team fixtures, 18 games, and train occasionally. First team games only here. Don't forget the golf tonight, incidentally, over on Sky Sports 2. Day 4 of the Mercedes Championships. the first tour event of the new season, tonight 8 o'clock on Sky Sports 2. And right now it's Derby and Blackburn from the FA Carling Premiership. 2-0 Derby County at half-time, 2 goals from Dean Sturridge. 5 attempts on target with 2, and they scored with them both up. 6 attempts Rovers on target with 2, and they've yet to find a way through. Again we're at half-time without a booking. Action areas, Blackburn heavily dominated early in the game. Well, they have done across that first half and the possession, but they trail by 2 goals to 0. Christian Daly and a Derby County legend, Dave Mackay, our guests here this afternoon. And here's an example, gentlemen, of just how things can go for and against you, or rather, in Derby County's case today, for twice. Here's Chris Sutton early in the game, Christian. Offside or not, in your opinion?
No. It's difficult to say.
Technology proved that. And yet
I don't think he's off,
up.
yeah. It's probably a difficult one for the linesman. When players step up, sometimes it exaggerates it a bit and it makes it look like they're offside. I don't think he was offside, but it's been given and it happens.
But the benefit of the doubt, Dave, should be with the forward. Sutton perhaps should have had the benefit of the doubt there, as Sturridge did shortly afterwards when he scored. And I think there was 2-3 minutes between these two incidents. What about this, when Derby County found a way through? And Blackburn, in truth, guilty of not getting that ball away, weren't they? Not just once, 2 or 3 times. Now look, offside. And yet close enough to get the benefit of the doubt.
I think maybe the ref reckoned that Paulo hadn't touched it there. Maybe that's what he was thinking, you know, or the linesman. Obviously if Paulo didn't touch it, then he's not offsides, but I think Paulo did get a slight touch on it to flick it through to Dean. And but he stuck it away, and it's been a strange kind of game, but we're 2-0 up, and that's what counts.
No doubt about the finish there. A little bit of luck about the second, Dave, but again, you've got to be in the right place.
That's right. I mean, the offside decision, both hairline, very, very difficult to judge, even for linesmen, if they're in line and the referee.
And they've got
very, very difficult. It's went Derby's way, and I think Blackburn played exceptionally well in the first half, but Derby 2-0 up.
Here's number 2. And
Deflection,
we thought at the time,
yes,
there was a deflection. Yeah, I think we confirmed that from behind the goal, didn't we? But again, right place at the right time.
Yes.
And it's a big job now Blackburn have got on, isn't it?
It is now, yeah, sure is. I'm quite pleased about it.
I know you are, because you're on a, what is it, 2-0 you said Rangers this weekend to beat Aberdeen, didn't you?
Yes.
1-0 Hibs, and they've both done that. 2-0 Derby County Blackburn.
2-0, yeah.
You're on big money here.
So, not very big money, but
can you hang on, Derby County?
I think so, yeah. It's been a strange kind of game for us to be playing at home. Normally we bombard teams for the first half and have about 10 chances and maybe manage to nick a goal, but today we've not really got our passing going. We've had a couple of half-decent chances and managed to stick them away. And you know, I think we can only play better in the second half, so hopefully that's what will happen.
And how many times have we seen 2-0 turned round by the opposition, not just this, but in previous seasons? 2-0 Derby County here. Blackburn with all that possession, the better of the action areas, but they trail. What can they do about that? We'll find out when we come back. There's more football later tonight from Sky Sports here on One. Real Sociedad against Barcelona, the best defensive side in the league against the top scorers. That's tonight, 8:30, Sky Sports 1. Which is where we are now with Super Sunday from Pride Park, Derby County and Blackburn. 2-0 Derby at half-time. Guests Christian Gross and Dave Mackay. And I'm just wondering, Dave, with all that, what did I say? Christian Daly. Sorry, Christian. I don't know if it was on my mind there. I'm just wondering, with all that possession, the better of the action areas by far, yet they trail 2-0. They haven't played badly, so is there a way back into this for them?
Well, I don't think they'll play any better than they played first half, Blackburn, but Derby 2-0 up, but I expect it to stay that way. When you're away from home, 2-0 up might be a little bit different. But when you're playing at home, you go 2 goals up at half-time, then they should hold on to that. Blackburn played very well. I can't see them doing much more. They played very well, the 2-0 down. They've got to try and come back, but if they play as well again second half, they must have a chance of getting something back.
Chris Sutton there, yet to find a way through today. His strike partner, Kevin Gallagher, equally frustrated. Christian? But if there is a way, it's likely one of these two will find it, eh?
I think so. I like them two up front, and Gallagher makes great runs. He's got in behind us actually a couple of times today and looked dangerous and been unlucky with a couple of offside decisions as well. So I think him and Sutton, you've definitely got to watch them. But hopefully once the game opens out a bit, I think hopefully Dean Sturridge and Paolo, and maybe get Francesco Baiano on the ball a little bit more, and he can feed them.
OK, let's rejoin, get this right, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Well, more reshuffling for Jim Smith. Steve Elliott hasn't been able to come out for the second half. Ron Willems, who was actually recommended to Derby by Roy Hodgson, and now plays against Blackburn. He actually scored against Blackburn up at Ewood Park last season, when he featured much more often the Dutchman than he has this campaign. He's really struggled to get involved in the first team at all. But he's got a chance now in the second half, where Blackburn are trying to turn round the most unpromising situation, not because they played badly, although Andy, I think we were reflecting at half-time back to that early chance for Kevin Gallagher.
That was a great chance, Martin, and it shows the importance of it now at half-time when you see Derby 2 up. But I think you'll see Blackburn much the same as the first half. I don't think there'll be too much change in the pattern of the game. I just wonder, the change shouldn't affect Derby too much. They've just tucked Rowett back to right side, right wing back, and Jakob Larsson's now playing as one of the centre-backs alongside Stimac.
Well, it looks as though Larsson is going to operate around Kevin Gallagher. Maybe, Andy, a man-to-man job?
Might be. I always think that's dangerous when you've got your centre-backs crossing over like that. I always think it's easier to pass people over, to pass them on. But certainly they've switched, and both Yates and Larsson have switched with them. So I think that the thing would be, if you're a front man now, is plenty of movement, plenty of crossovers. Really test the centre-back's ability to move.
Well, certainly in Jim Smith's thinking about going man-for-man on Gallagher, he was going to use Robbie Kozluk, who's been in the team recently, but he got hurt in training. And it may be that the switch is a purely tactical one. One chop pursued by Ancho, and after a first half without a sight of Graham Poll's yellow card, here it comes.
He's only fractionally late, but I mean, I think in a case like that, that's a booking.
The referee now just making Hunt go back and take the free kick from the proper place. Just jogging towards the ball now, sprinting to say, give it to me. And Hunt did just that. Sturridge. One chops in the centre. Well, of course, that's the dilemma for Blackburn now. They know they've got to chase the game as much as they can, but as Hunt lets fly here, the pace that Derby do have in their attacking ranks, Sturridge.
I think Honshaw gets in a terrible position here. Not only that, he gets muscled out of it again. You look at one shot, he just tries to edge Croft out of it, and by doing that, he just puts himself on his back foot momentarily. I mean, it's a decent ball across. He's got to miss out Colin Henry. And by doing that, it's just too much of an angle for one shot to get that little touch, and that's all it would have needed, a little touch.
There's a problem for Sturridge after that run, as if he's stretched a muscle. Here's Ripley.
Yeah, he was in acres there. He just comes across from the right side, and no one really picks up Stuart Ripley. I think that's something that Stimac, if you're sweeper, if you're spare man, that's something you've got to be looking at. He's got to be using his experience, Igor Stimac. If anyone comes in, Duff or Ripley comes in from that wide area, and his other two centre-backs are man-for-man marking, then it's up to him to pick up anyone who comes in.
Sturridge has just been checking with the bench, incidentally, and I think the joint decision is to give it a couple of minutes just to see.
Well, if he's stretching that, then it might be his thigh, then obviously he's just tweaked.
Blackburn would like to see the back of him. There's Lawson dogging Gallagher. Sutton's header. And fairly theatrical tumble by Kevin Gallagher. Hendrick. Sherwood touching it off to Gary Flitcroft. Kenner on the move from the right back position. Into the feet of Sutton, who was thinking about letting it run, maybe on a call to Sherwood.
That was exactly what it was. He knew he was behind him, he knew Sherwood had made the run in.
Here come Derby again. And the pass was from Baiano, and Willems, who has got an eye for goal from midfield.
Well, that's what he'll do. That's the difference, Mark, is going to be between Rowett and Hunt in the first half and Willems and Hunt in the second. Is that Willems will, I think, try and go forward. Maybe Jim Smith doesn't want him to, but I think he will. He naturally wants to get forward.
Flitcroft. Extra vigilance. Derby, they hope in the second half they wouldn't want to give Blackburn the room that was happening at this stage in the first half. Archer. Now Duff. Staying in from the left-hand side to try and mix it up for Roy Hodgson's side. Chris Powell, who's now had a total of 9 stitches in that head wound. Had a good challenge then. And he's up in support of Baiano. Henry's header. Touchdown from Sherwood. Led on by Flitcroft. Sutton. Gallagher with Yates for company this time. And first to react there was Damien Duff, who came out of the penalty area to get to the ball. Gallagher. A goal for Blackburn here, and the whole complexion could change, and Sherwood looking for it.
Good movement, good ball in, lovely ball in from Jeff Kenner. Again, it's bordering on offside, very tight. I think that one's the right decision, but just doesn't get enough on it. Tim Sherwood. A little bit behind him when he made connection with it. Kind of dragged it, half dragged it, didn't hit it cleanly enough.
Sherwood with 5 goals in his previous 12 games. It's a pretty good spell from a player who does his share of the defending in midfield as well.
Well, that's what you've got to do, Martin, if you've got man-for-man markers on your strikers, is get them to run out of areas. Sometimes in areas that you think aren't dangerous, and then get people like Sherwood coming through into the open areas that you leave.
Baiano. Gary Croft was a little nervous when Baiano got the ball. He was half thinking about making a challenge, backed off, but he was able at least to block the attempted cross, although Derby County have a corner. Almost 9 minutes gone in the second half. Larson, who's hit 1 or 2 spectacular goals since coming into the English game.
He hit that well enough, nothing wrong with it. I don't know what it's Colin Henry. It wouldn't surprise me if it was Colin Henry. It's one of the things he loves doing. Blocking shots, coming from any angle, throwing his body around.
Rowett. Sturridge just a little circumspect, as if he's not entirely sure about how fully fit he is now. He's still out there pursuing what would be his first hat-trick. Giggs was in that situation yesterday and made plenty of runs into the Tottenham penalty area later on, but couldn't quite make it a truly memorable match ball afternoon.
Well, the corner came in and it was only clear to the edge of the box. What they do well, Blackburn, they've got plenty of bodies going there after it. Certainly was Colin Henry, got his body in the way.
Well won back by one chop. Goes into that pirouetting routine of his again. So great support. And he didn't get very far, and Sutton steers a header wide to Ripley, and here come Blackburn with 5 forward. Gallagher. Tight against the goal line, he gets his cross in. Duff. And Croft. He's got those looking in the centre. For Blackburn, he had the option really, Croft. It was a widening angle as to whether to go for goal himself.
What a block this is from Dean Yates, Martin. Because Croft's looking to pick out Sherwood or Sutton. And look at that for cutting out the cross. Fantastic defending and crucial defending.
Yes, the miracle man came up with what looked near impossible then. But he did reach it, and another promising Blackburn attack was nipped in the bud. Oncho. Gallagher, as he was challenged, Flitcroft trying to fasten onto it. Fulham's got a cry from the crowd then, and reacted well. Derby finding it difficult just at the moment to get out of their own half. Kenner. Ripley. Certainly not a situation that these Blackburn players are used to being in this season. That's a late challenge by Flitcroft, which has Graham Poll reaching for the yellow card, and Flitcroft is in agony about that because it is his 5th. He believes he got the ball.
I think that's half mark, I have to say. I think players' reactions are pretty good. They know when someone's made a bad tackle or not. I think he's really unlucky there. I don't think that was a good decision at all.
Long ball from Rowett, headed not quite into the stride of Sturridge by one chop. That was the intention. Croft going to pick out Sutton.
I think this game's more finely balanced than the 2-0 scoreline suggests, I have to say.
Hendrick. Now Flitcroft. Jeff Kenner's made a long run down that far touchline. Lending some support. One thing Blackburn must realise, that if they could get one goal, given Derby's record this season of losing substantial leads, they may well become rattled. Oncho. They haven't broken through yet. The side that started the day 3rd in the table. Derby 8th in this morning's papers, would be 6th if it stays this way by the close of play today.
I just see Jim Smith out there just saying to Ron Williams, what are you doing? He says, you're going forward too much. He's trying to get him to sit and not go ahead. Look, he's saying to him, don't go ahead, you sit in midfield, son. I think the message loud and clear.
Sorry, boss.
And that makes sense. Why chase the game? Why chase another goal? You're 2-0 up.
Well, it's Roy Hodgson. It is still the chase. Jason Wilcox, who has been in pretty good form when he's been in the side, but Damien Duff has just had the edge over him. Whether they'll play both Duff and Wilcox down the left-hand side. Baiano, busy as ever. Oh, a great back heel by Wanchop. Sturridge going to the near post. A third one would surely finish off the Blackburn challenge.
It's always a risk. Again, the three Musketeers combine really well here. Little dink in. You think they've got nowhere to go, but somehow they fashion some space out. I think that's perhaps a corner. I think he might have got something on that here, Hong Show. But good movement all round from the front three. I think this is a smart move. I'd take off Croft as well, Mark. I think that's a smart move to really go committed now.
He's done it before.
Yeah.
And allowed Wilcox and Duff to work together down the left-hand side with the more attacking prospects. And Gary Croft didn't have the best time in either of the Derby goals. It's a partial clearance that was put back in towards Paolo Wanchop, who did make that flick, with Sturridge seemingly in an offside position for the first goal that stood. And then, of course, he could have cleared after Kenner's great covering tackle. Baiano set up Sturridge for the second. Mistakes at this level can be very costly.
They can.
Smith, in theory, is limited to that technical area. Finding it hard to rein himself in.
Well, what they obviously don't do, Mark, is fancy Wanchop's discipline, because he's just called on Dean Sturridge to come over to the right side, and whether he's saying, well, you're better equipped to either go back with Wilcox or test him as well.
Duff carrying the fight to Derby for Blackburn Rovers. It's a brilliant run from Damien Duff.
Well, I'm amazed he went to ground as easily as that. I don't know whether he was caught, but he looks to be in here. He absolutely skips past, I think it's Stimac on the edge of the box here. And then I thought, go on, he's just opened himself out. I mean, Yates is totally innocent. He has a little word with him. Surprised he went to ground.
Here comes the corner. And they scrape it away, but not very far. Flitcroft can't find space for the shot. Oncho. Maybe not the best man in those circumstances for Blackburn, but he's kept the ball for them. Flitcroft's cross. And that will bend away and Derby will breathe again. Gallagher claiming he was sent tumbling as he went chasing into the centre.
Well, the corner was an awkward one. It really bends in, you see Sherman goes in, and then Colin Henry comes in behind him. And I think Colin should really have got this first goal this season, because that dropped really invitingly for him. He completely mishit it. And he does well here. Look at the numbers they've got in here. Kept it well. Not a bad ball in, it's lacking in numbers.
More a case of Gallagher running into bodies and going to ground than anything more sinister. Flitcroft. Hendrick. Good touch by Baiano. But Sturridge couldn't quite get it to Hunt. He wasn't too far away from it. Gallagher. Blackburn refusing to accept the situation. Here comes Hendrick. Kenner in space on the right-hand side. Hunt holding Hendry up. Put forward by Gallagher. Glancing header down by Sutton. Comes off Rowett. Put out by Stimac. Very much the leader of the gang at the moment, and knowing full well that this game is certainly not done and dusted for Derby County. Duff, corner for Blackburn.
I just wonder if it's in Jim Smith's mind, Mark, just to sacrifice one of his front three now. Approaching 65 minutes in this game, 2-0 up.
Form pouring at it, rather. Collected here by Duff. Flipcroft. And that's Sutton. Oh! Anshaw in front of a gaping goal.
Well, Chris Sutton can do no more. He's every right to hold his head, because this is the type of chance that you feel he would have absolutely gobbled up. Pulls brilliantly onto the back of Yates, and this is saying, go on, son, get us back in the game. With 25 minutes to go and we might win it. But Honshaw, really, he hits the target, he scores. You just can't miss anything under the bar, and they're back in the game. That's the miss of the match.
Maybe one of the misses of Blackburn's season. The Swiss international really suffering. And so is the former Swiss international coach. Derby's ball, and Paul right on the scene there. Flag has gone up. And he's got to stop it, because Blackburn didn't get the ball in the second phase of that particular piece of play. Well, played 10, won 7, drawn 3. They've averaged 2 goals a game here, and they've added another 2 today. And they've only conceded 1 every 2. It's a great set of statistics. Show. Duff getting round the outside and doing very well to get a cross in. Sutton challenging for it, might make a chance for himself. Great stop by Paul. He's back with Ripley. In goes Powell, and Derby still have that 2-goal lead.
This was a save of great quality. Just showing that you don't need to use your hands. Any part of your body's good enough.
Ripley's corner wasn't quite what Blackburn had in mind.
Well, it's an instinctive save from Poom.
Phillips, very coolly. Baiano. Wanchop, that can go one man further to the right, but Wanchop's got other ideas. Just forced Baiano wider than the Italian would have wanted. Defensive header by Wilcox.
Well, we can't have a look at that. I mean, it just drops to Sutton. He makes a nuisance of himself. He takes his time, shifts it to his right foot. It's just instinctive. It's getting any part of your body in the way. It's being in a very good position as a goalkeeper and using whatever is nearest to the ball. Good block.
Denying Chris Sutton a goal which would put him out on his own again as the Premiership's leading scorer. He's level now on 12 league goals with John Hartson of West Ham. Is certainly moving freely. And here's Baiano. Wanchop has kept pace with him, but keeping pace with Wanchop was Anshaw. Flowers recognised that Anshaw did the right thing. Took charge, and Blackburn try again. Kenner. Stimac headed it straight at Gallagher. That could have flown anywhere.
It just might be their day today. Couple of little offside decisions have gone their way. Honshaw's miss, and that could have ended up top corner as easily as over the bar.
"20 minutes to go. Wanchop. One or two things starting to come off for him. Hunt. Graham Poll decides that's worthy of a yellow card for the Derby midfield man, who's bursting to try and make an impression today on his recall to the starting lineup.
Yeah, just loses it. Again, it's a tackle at normal speed. Is very close to being completed. He's going for the ball. He's just a fraction late. You go to the ground and you give away a free kick. You're risking a yellow card.
Nudged on nicely into Henry's stride by Sherwood, but nothing nice about the shot from the Scotsman.
First real sign of frustration as well from Blackburn. I think they've been pretty composed and disciplined second half going forward. They've been patient as well, and this first real sign of frustration in the team.
Those figures not reflecting the scoreline of the match. That's kicked by Larson. Maybe that's the break that Blackburn need. And the header was a good one from Wilcox's cross by Sutton, but not good enough.
Yeah, the thing that determined he wasn't scoring here, man, I think it's behind him. I think it just gets a little bit ahead of the ball. Chris Sutton. He has to really arch his neck, and he has to just check his stride. You can see he's diving back away from goal, really trying to get his head round and power into it. I think had that been half a yard in front of him, he might well have found a corner.
A different slant to Monday Night Football, a Scottish slant from the Bells Premier Division. St Johnstone against High Flying Hearts. Sky Sports 1 Monday at 7, and on Wednesday the replay between Port Vale and Arsenal. Sky Sports 2, 7:30. Arsenal have hit a bit of form. Port Vale can't win in the league, but when the cup comes around, they've got some famous scalps in the past, and we'll be looking for another on Wednesday night. You'll be able to see that live on Sky. There's a lucky ricochet to suggest again that Derby are getting a certain number of breaks here. That's a breakdown between Hunt and Rowett. Olsher. Olsher can come forward here. But to let the ball do the work, but the passing needs to be better than that from back to front.
Now that's not a great ball. He's under no pressure. Won't show at the back. Look at that. He's got absolutely acres. He can do what he wants. And he's nowhere near hitting his target, his intended target, Chris Sutton.
Now Duff. Well, they continue to threaten. Lawson dealing with the danger, maybe only momentarily, because here comes the corner. No time to waste for Blackburn. Ripley to take it. Stimac bending forward with some authority to at least allow his line of defenders to push out towards the edge of the area. Ripley stopped by Willems. That's a lovely measured ball from the Dutchman up to Sturridge. Not so measured from Hunt. And Wanchop actually was in a lot of space through the centre. And it's a bit ragged from Ripley. He's on the ball again. Gets the better of Rowett. Sherwood.
It's been the case for Blackburn for most of the match. So near and yet so far. A lot of good build-up, a lot of good movement in the team, a lot of good passing. Just that final moment of putting it where it matters, and they've just fallen down today.
This is Kenner ahead of Sherwood. Now Sutton, back to Tim Sherwood, the captain again. Flitcroft, worth a hit, he felt. Blocked by Hunt. Now Sherwood. Well, he got in unattended, he's annoyed with himself.
Might have just been a touch early. Again, it might have been one of those, it's just a fraction behind him as he arrived there. And then he check and adjust his stride.
"15 minutes to go, and our first chance to remind you about the man of the match phone number. 0891111101. We have had some excellent results here this season, none better than becoming the first side to beat Arsenal. It was a 3-0 win. After Arsenal had begun their game pretty impressively, as Blackburn did here, but didn't score when they were on top.
I think this is a better result if it ends up a victory for Derby when you look at what they've had to cope with today, with respect to the people that Jim Smith hasn't been able to pick.
Sherwood, Ripley. Match didn't get it away when he might have done. Nor did Hunt. Hendrick. Wilcox. Great ability of Damien Duff to twist and turn. Flitcroft. And Wanchop recognised the need to make a challenge, but it's broken Blackburn's way. It was Sutton looking yet again for his striking partner Gallagher.
Larson read it. He goes away early, he sets off early. Larson here when it breaks down, you watch him, he sees Gallagher's run. He sets off early, anticipates the pass. Got it right.
He wouldn't have been best pleased with Wanchop had that led to a Blackburn goal. Having made the challenge, he's trying some trickery in the wrong part of the pitch. But Blackburn starting to run out of time. Derby pushing out. Back by Flitcroft. Hendry spending more and more time forward.
They've got decent height in there, Derby. When you look at the three centre-backs, and Rowett and Chris Powell, they're all decent enough in the air. And that's the difficulty at times when they're all in there, trying to pick a gap in between them.
I don't want to labour this point about Dean Yates, but he's such a great example to others in his desire to play when he's probably not really Premiership fit, and there never will be again. Duff. Only a throw for Blackburn Rovers. 12 minutes left. Can at least make a dent in this Derby lead. Headed on by Gallagher. A bit of screening by Sutton. This is Ripley. Steamach solidly away. There's an avenue to explore on this near side for Sturridge. Made Bayano put the brakes on. Still crafted the pass for Wanchop, who I think felt that he could deceive Onshaw and just nick it away from him. Had he done so, he would have been away. Flitcroft. In the traffic towards the Derby goal. The holding operation in the second half after the 2 goals in the first. Still in place for Derby County. Sherwood. Derby win it back again. Through Sturridge, Bayano. Wanchop actually funneled back, and the third musketeer was for once a bit off the pace. And not quite in peak form on that particular attempt to unhinge Blackburn Rovers. There's no one running on the right initially for Flitcroft. Kenner's making up the ground now, but Flitcroft eyeing the goal.
It's a good hit. I think it's always going wide. He had plenty of time to look at it. You let him come a long, long way unchallenged. Always edging wide, always swerving wide. Starts to move to the left and going wide.
Just to give you some indication of the task of Blackburn Rovers today, the three sides that have drawn here: Manchester United had to come back from 2 down, as we've mentioned. Crystal Palace, who have got 19 of their 23 points from away games, so they're something of travelling specialists, as you all know. And Wimbledon got their draw, given the second chance after the floodlight failure in the first game here. Down goes Ripley. 2 free kicks now in quick succession for Blackburn. Well, if there is any hope for Roy Hodgson's team today, something's got to happen quickly. Derby have got everyone back behind the ball. Sherwood leaves it. Sutton hits it right into a very solid ball, but then Sherwood does get a foot to the ball that might just have troubled Derby. Wilcox. That's for Kenner. He didn't make the most of it the first time. Bayano for Sturridge. Comes back to Bayano again. Wilcox went tussling into him. Here's Rowett, and they're short of numbers in the centre, Blackburn, and they were pretty fortunate that Damien Duff was able to cut out the cross.
Well, he doesn't cut it out and they're getting a shot at goal. Look at the middle of this defence. You watch this as it breaks on the edge of the box, and there's one shot. Bayano and Sturridge all going in on this cross.
Well, it's been a conservative approach to the second half from Jim Smith, and very understandably so in the circumstances. But can they round it all off in the grand manner for the Derby fans here? One shot pulling away, relatively unmarked, able to take an extra touch or two. It's a corner.
A foot lower in that cross, and Dean Sturridge might well have had his hat-trick. This is only fractionally above Sturridge near post. A decent ball in. It's an awkward one to deal with. Sturridge goes in first. Just can't get there.
And no great urgency from Jonathan Hunt going across to take the corner, as you would expect. Graham Poldo looking at the watch. So he realises that maybe a little bit of time being used up unfairly. That does take the corner. Sherwood gets to it. Rowett. Derby's throw. More seconds will pass. Willems. Now Yates. Powell to Wanchop. And have Derby broken the Blackburn spirit here? They're able to do this attempt at winning the ball much further up the pitch than has been the case for not just much of the second half, but in truth for much of the match. Jim Smith having to pick a team from depleted resources. will regard this as a famous victory, but he's still 5 minutes or so away from it.
Yes, he will, Martin. I think the one thing that would disappoint Roy Hodgson, I don't think there's an awful lot would in the match, would be the amount of times that they've actually tested the goalkeeper for all the pressure, for all the possession. I don't remember too many times in the second half, boom, Mueller being troubled once from Chris Sutton, and he drove it at his legs. Apart from that, his defenders have coped with everything. They're the ones that have been the heroes today for Derby, the lads in front of that man.
Well, in the first half he had to save very early on from Gallagher, who hit the ball pretty much straight at him. Then there was a dive to the left from Hendry's header. But beyond that, Wilcox. An earlier ball this time. Stimac got to it, but then Flitcroft for Blackburn. And Paul had to watch where it dropped, because it would have dropped in.
He's just watching the flight of the ball. There's not enough pace on this to trouble the goalkeeper. Watches it all away. A lot of keepers might have caught it, but a lot of continental keepers do like to just be a little theatrical at times.
Sherwood falls for Hendry. Sherwood on the scene again. Sutton. Well, they've got one back.
They're looking for offside. I don't think he was. I think this is a pretty good decision from where I'm looking from. It's just played in first time. He's nowhere near offside. He just caught a little slow coming out. Most of them have gone out there. I think it's Chris Powell. There's the one, the back man who's playing Sutton onside. And this is a lovely little header. Glancing header down and into the corner. It's late, but it gives him a lifeline.
Well, it's not going to be a smooth ride to the winning post for Jim Smith and Derby County. Well, we've itemised the leads that Derby have lost on some occasions really spectacularly this season, particularly when they were 3 up at Elland Road. And here at Pride Park, that recovery by Manchester United that Blackburn are looking to emulate now. Hunt. One shot. One shot. It doesn't matter how for Derby. That has surely settled it when Blackburn were believing there might have been hope. Paolo Wanchop ends a personal spell without a goal of 8 games at a crucial time.
Well, I just wonder if there was a handball in here. Somebody seemed to think so. Tim Sherwood certainly did. Didn't seem to be. But this is what Paolo Wanchop's all about. I mean, this ball's bouncing around. It's all over the place. He just stabs the right foot at it, but what an effective stab it is. He gets great power in it. It's bobbling about, they can't get rid of it. The right foot suddenly comes up, take that, and it's flowing past Flowers. That is game over.
Well, that spidery style of his. Blackburn got it back to 2-1 for a mere 75 seconds. But they have got another corner. Baiano is going to come off. He was given a characteristically crafty performance again. Well, they held up his number. There's been a reprieve. Dion Burton always coming on, but 2 goals Dean Sturridge wreathed in smiles now. Is the player who is replaced.
Yeah, Sturridge probably thought, I've got 2 of the goals, I deserve the ovation of my own.
Ripley's corner.
Good claim that. Tell you, late in the game, a lot of bodies in there. That's a great claim from your goalkeeper. And the free kick, I think, for the goalkeeper. I think he thinks that Kevin Gallagher was tracking him, stopping him clearing it.
Tim Sherwood, now the object of Graham Poll's concern. Has to take this one on the chin. Tony Parks and Derek Zachary there. Roy Tunks, the goalkeeping coach. Do one or two if onlys around that early chance for Kevin Gallagher and that bright beginning. And now here come Derby with Burton, who has a World Cup to look forward to with Jamaica. His international goals, and he only went out really with his friends Paul Hall and Fitzroy Simpson of Portsmouth, Burton's former club, just for the journey, and trained with the squad and ended up playing in the team and scoring the goals. He's found it harder to get into the Derby team in true Ripley. Well, you've seen here today, Andy, the tactical awareness of Jim Smith, the side picked in difficult circumstances to play with a certain amount of caution, but with plenty of penetration, with a less than even share of possession. But you've seen the depth of character and quality in the club as well.
I think you've seen all of that, Martin. I think a manager who knows his players, and who knows his players well, and has a special system. Not every team could play this way, the way that Jim sets his team out. They're very disciplined, very committed to the cause. They really dig in, you know, not giving much away, make life difficult, and then just take the front three. Go and see if you can do it for us. And yet again, the front three come up with the goods again today.
Although Sutton goes back to the top of the Premiership scorers charts, he does so today in a losing cause. Against Derby on this ground has been very difficult. And how gratifying it must be for those behind the scenes here who have put so much effort into what was a change of plan from developing the baseball ground into suddenly, well, we've got to get a new stadium. And a very impressive one it is. But you have to say even more impressive is the way that Derby have performed since the switch.
I think it was a wise decision then, and I think it will prove to be a wise decision in future years as well, the transfer from the baseball to here.
Wilcox with the free kick. That's Duff. I think it shows what a very good win it was for Newcastle here in the Coca-Cola Cup.
Every team that comes here, Mark, might think it's going to come sooner or later, but it's not today.
Well, the Pride Park run goes on. 11 Premiership games here now, 3 draws and now 8 wins. And in difficult circumstances today, with players suspended, but Paolo Wanchop rediscovered his goal touch late on. But it was Dean Sturridge who really caught the eye in the first half, possibly in an offside position, but the smile of the scorer there, and that set Derby on their way. The fortune of a deflection off Hendry, 2-0, and Derby set out their stall in the second half to defend what they had. Late on, Chris Sutton gave some hope for Blackburn, but straight away, one shot, the juggling, and then the scoring. And Blackburn beaten for only the 3rd time this season in the league. They stayed 3rd in the table, 8 points off the pace. Roy Hodgson will recognise that even in his disappointment, with more than a third of the season still to go, the defeat doesn't drop them out of contention. But Derby, well, they go into the top 6, and they have genuine ambitions for a European place. And the last time that happened was more than 20 years ago. It was a big game for both clubs, and Derby County have won it by 3 goals to 1.
And still to come tonight, here at 6:30, we've live basketball. The Greater London Leopards take on the Thames Valley Tigers. That's followed at 8:30 by Spanish football. Real Sociedad against Barcelona. Over on Sky Sports 2 at 8, there's live USPGA Golf, Day 4 of the Mercedes Championships. And over on Sky Sports 3 now, the big NFL game of the week, the Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Denver Broncos. The winners will be crowned. There's a lot of happy punters on their way home. By far and away the majority here today, Derby County fans. And they've seen their team win by 3 goals to 1. Another Pride Park win. Newcastle remain the only team to have won here, and that of course in the Coca-Cola Cup. Not quite sure where home is, but good luck gentlemen on the return journey. Our pictures have been provided by the Eye in the Sky there today. The facts, well, Derby have won it 3-1, and it's been another very good day for Manchester United. 9 attempts Derby, 4 on target, 19 Blackburn, but only on target with 5. 1 goal from the 5. We got to half-time without a booking and finished with 3. Hunt from Derby, Onshow and Flitcroft from Blackburn. First half, Blackburn dominated, but couldn't find a way through. Across the 90 minutes, they had more possession. Action area second half, again they had the better of. Nearly 28,000 in. Man of the match. Boom, I would have thought Dave Mackay's thumb goes up. 21% Dave, 71% Dean Sturridge, who got 2 here today. In fact, both the goal scorers now are with George Gavin.
Dean, well done, 2 great goals. But you can never feel comfortable, could you, at 2-0?
No, because Blackburn had a lot of the ball, you know, so we was under the cosh a bit, but we've come through in the end.
You've never scored a hat-trick, I believe. You must have felt as though you could do that in the second half.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to the second half, but the way it was, Blackburn had a lot of the ball again with pen back, and it was hard to get momentum going, you know. So I didn't even get a chance to get the hat-trick, to be honest. Just a half chance, maybe at the near post. I don't know if I got there first. I thought it was a corner, but you know that's the only slim chance I had in the second half.
They came back at you, didn't they? And Paolo Wanchop's goal, how important was that?
It's very important because after they scored that goal, you know, was under pressure. They looked like they might have got the draw, and Paolo's come up and popped up and scored it and taken the pressure off us.
Now you've signed for another term here at Derby. How comfortable are you with your football here now?
Very comfortable, you can see, you know. The fans love me. It was just one of those things, bit of turmoil in the summer, but that's gone now, forgotten, and just getting on with my football and enjoying it.
And 6th place in the table. That's a marvellous achievement so far for Derby, isn't it?
Yeah, we're doing very well, but we're just going to take one game at a time, you know, the old cliche, and just see what happens.
And Paolo, how much are you enjoying your football at Derby County?
Yeah, pretty good. It's nice to be part of Derby County. Good teammate, and I'm very proud to be here.
That's another tremendous scalp, isn't it? Blackburn Rovers you've beaten here now. You're 6th place now. Can you go further up the table, do you think?
Yeah, it's a pretty good team, Blackburn, and we're working hard to be in the top 6.
Just tell me, Dean, what's it happening in the huddle at the start of a game? What do you say when you all get together before the match starts? Because the team spirit is obviously very good here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The camaraderie between the lads is brilliant, and we're really all together. I'm not going to tell you what we say because that would be giving away the secret, you know.
OK, well played. Paolo, if you can give this to Dean Sturridge, he's the man of the match, and well played both of you.
Cheers. OK, cheers.
And well done, Jenny Goggin, I think it is, from Alfreton in Derbyshire. Jenny Goggin, I hope I've got it right, Jenny. Anyway, you win the replica man of the match jersey today. Now then, Christian Daly and Dave Mackay, our guests here this afternoon. Almost a perfect day for Dave, who wanted a 2-0, but you take 3-1, won't you?
Sure, 2-1 I would have taken, as long as Derby win. Said at the beginning that Derby would win. Half time I said they would win, so they won. Yeah. So I'm quite happy with that. I'd rather it have been 2-0, but 3-1's just the same.
6th place, and they're talking about Europe. Justifiably so, do you think?
Well, I also mentioned I think they'll be in the top 6.
Come the finish.
And today, really, they didn't play as well as they have in the previous games that I've seen them.
So how did they craft that out then, Christian? How have Derby won that 3-1?
I think we just stuck in there. We battled hard. We're a very fit side. I think a lot's made of Blackburn having a fitness coach, but we've got a fitness coach as well, a guy Dane Farrell, who works really hard with all the players. And we reckon that we're one of the fittest sides in the league, and I think you've got to be fit to play in this league and to play the number of games that we've got. So I think we just dug in and we took our chances. We've got great strikers, and if you give them a chance, they're going to score.
And as we look back at the highlights of the game, I think we can underline really what you were saying. What do you say in that huddle at the start?
It's a secret.
Blackburn Rovers with lion's share of possession. They dominated the action areas and they had, well, good chances, Dave, didn't they, early on? Good save from the keeper. But they do like in these parts, and you can see why, can't you? Did Blackburn look like a title-winning side to you today, Christian?
Well, I don't know about title-winning side. Certainly, to me, justified the fact that they're as high up in the league as they are, because there's not many sides have come to Pride Park this season and dominated the game like they did. I think they'll be kicking themselves a little bit with a few of the chances that they missed, you know. But you've got to take your chances. That's what football's all about. And we took ours and we got our chances, and we had a little bit of luck today. And I think you've got to earn your luck. You've got to work hard, and I think that's what happened today.
May have been offside, Dave, but you'd want in these situations, as we've said all season, for the forward to get the benefit of the doubt, wouldn't you?
Sure, and they were only here, and as I said before, very, very difficult when it's a split decision like that. It's very difficult to give it one way or the other.
Great challenge there, then it should have gone away, and really Blackburn was punished for not doing that, weren't they?
Yeah, but we're working hard to win the ball back, and we get a little bit of luck, but it's because we've won the ball back that we get the goal.
That's fair. Again, very well taken. The reflection helped him, but as you say, you've got to get in there and earn your luck first, haven't you?
It's like Bayano's a terrific player, obviously, but he works so hard for the team as well, closing people down, and you know, he's essential to our game plan.
Is this as good a Derby team as you've seen here, Dave, since they won the title?
Well, as they're playing very well. As I said today, they didn't play as well as they have played in the previous games. But second half, they set the stall out to save the game. 2-0 up. They didn't want to give anything away. They defended really well. Lost the goal. To me, when the goal comes, it was too late anyway. And Derby got another one to make it 3. But no, they deserve it anyway.
I think that was the chance there that.
That's it. Yeah.
You think if that goes in, they might get something?
Well, if that goes in, you're going to be under pressure for maybe the last half an hour or so. But obviously, when that one doesn't go in, and then Mark Bloom's great save there, I think Blackburn must have felt that it just wasn't their day.
They kept plugging away, to be fair, didn't they?
If you're 2-0 down, but you've got to score earlier on. No 3-4 minutes to go, it's too late by then. But I was quite impressed with Blackburn. They played very well today.
Sturridge touched upon it, Christian, the team spirit, the camaraderie. You talk about fitness, but good spirits is important, isn't it?
Definitely. I agree fully with what Dean said. It's a great team spirit at Derby. We're great friends, off and on the park. And well, actually, most of us actually live within about a minute of each other. And I think it shows when we're playing. You know, we work hard for each other.
Look at this guy here.
I think that's a brilliant finish. I think
sensational, isn't it? Really.
He's holding two people off, and he's got the awareness to stick his leg out and volley it in the top corner. You know, and people say what they like about Paulo, but he sticks the ball in. It's 11 goals. You can't argue with that.
It was for handball and all sorts there, but
no handball.
I think there was there?
No, it's just his style.
There you go, Jim.
Out comes the chewing gum.
Out comes the chewing gum. Time to relax at last. 3-1. Let's have a look at the FA Carling Premiership then. No change, of course, in the bottom half of this game here today. Drop zone right now, it's Barnsley, Tottenham and Bolton, and just outside Palace and Coventry, and Everton on 23. So the top half, the win, of course, would take Derby County 6th. There's the confirmation, 35 points from their 22 played now. Ahead of them, Arsenal, Liverpool and Blackburn, who stay 3rd. Then it's Chelsea, and 7 points clear of Chelsea, Manchester United. And here's Jim Smith, the Derby County manager, with George Gavin.
Jim, well done. 6th place in the table. What kind of achievement is that for Derby County?
Well, it's obviously a very nice feeling to be 6th. A little bit fortunate to win today, but we've got to have a little bit of fortune at times, and obviously it's put us in a great position for when everybody comes back fit and off suspension.
Fortunate because they penned you back?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they missed 2 good chances early on. I mean, okay, we'll say the keeper saved them, but there was a good chance. I mean, we came in at 2-0 and we could have easily been 3-2 down, to be honest, in the first half. They had a lot of possession second half and chances, but the keeper played very well. And we've said all along that our front 3 are always capable of scoring goals, and we've said also of late that we haven't scored goals, but somebody's going to get goals against them. And today they took the chances. Well, Dean took, and one Jobby took the chances extremely well, and that was the most pleasing aspect of it all.
When you're under the cosh, what's it like managing Paolo One-Choppy?
Well, it's exactly like when you're not under the cosh. He drives you around the bend, but he works hard. To be fair, I think he's in Costa Rica the match, and he's trying to tell his mum how good he is. At times, which are the wrong areas, but then again, he does something like he did at well, not won us again, but made it quite comfortable, because it was nobody else. I don't think many else could have got that ball and did what he did to put it in the back of the net.
Do you feel yourself and the players are getting the full credit you deserve, Jim, this season?
Well, not really, but I mean, I don't mind that. Just quietly along. I don't want any too much noise about it. We just want to go quietly along. And as I say, we haven't actually played our full first team at any time this season. And we know this with today's team that we had to turn out with the injuries and suspensions, that we'd have been happy with a draw, to be honest, and get Wimbledon out of the way next week, and then hopefully they're all back, and well, at least after the cup, and if we're in a good position as we are now, we've got a good base to fly from, and I think we could surprise a lot more people.
Well played, Jim. Thanks very much.
Cheers, George. Thank you.
Thanks again, Jim.
I don't think there'll be any surprising anybody after that win today. Derby County up into 6th place. We'll talk to Roy Hodgson when we come back after the break. Also, more reaction from Pride Park, where Derby have beaten Blackburn today by 3-1. As we said, another very good day, as it turned out, for Manchester United. But more from Pride Park when we come back. Welcome back. 3-1 Derby County today. We'll get Roy Hodgson's reaction to that very shortly. But I wonder what he was feeling with Blackburn trailing 2-0, and then Stefan Oncho has that wonderful opportunity that you mentioned in the story of the game there, Christian. If he scores here, it's a totally different game for half an hour, isn't it?
It would be, yeah. I think Sutton does really well. He's really good at this when he peels off round to the back. He does that really well, peels onto the back of people and puts a great ball in for him. And he just really has to keep his eye on the ball and keep it on target, and it's a goal. But I think it just went like that for Blackburn a little bit today, and we rode our luck a little bit. And that's the way football goes sometimes. We've
talked about just about everybody in this Derby side, Dave, apart from the keeper, who's really made a name for himself here, hasn't he? Looks good, and again, a 2-0, a terrific save from Sutton here, that could have changed the game.
Everything he did today, I mean, in the first minute, he made a great save in the first minute. And he had some wonderful stops today, and he looked so confident. Everything in the air, he looked excellent today. He is a very good goalkeeper.
Is he as good as Dave says?
I think he's a brilliant goalie, yeah. I think he's definitely, apart from Schmeichel, must be up there one of the best goalies in the league. And he deserves everything he gets, really, because sometimes the groundsmen are shutting the training ground at maybe 5 o'clock and they're having to go and get Pumi to tell him to stop training, you know. That's honest, and that's the truth.
Still working?
He's still working on his goalkeeping, on his physique and everything. He's the hardest trainer I've ever seen in my life, and he deserves to have his moments like he did today.
If that's the case, he does. Now, we've had 1 or 2 offside decisions to talk about today. What about this? When Sutton scored, there were some complaints from Derby County, and in the end it's worked out so that it doesn't matter too much, but it might have done. Now, what do we think here as he goes away?
I think Chris
on by
Powell
a distance, isn't he?
Yes,
yeah, Chris Powell's been back on the post, I think, and he's just coming out. But Sutton sticks it away well. He's a good player, and he looks a good player even today. And you know, if you give him a chance, he's going to stick it in.
So 2-1 to Blackburn Rovers. Was there an offside just prior to the goal that One-Shop scored? Let's have a look here. I think that's yes, isn't it, Dave?
Everything's so tight, you know. It is. Yes.
Well, that underlines how difficult it can be, as Andy always says, for the linesmen.
Split-second things, but the referee and linesmen have got to make their mind up straight away.
We have seen a couple go today that
they don't see it again. This is the juggling act.
It's a great finish.
That's some goal, isn't it? Handball? No?
No, I don't think so. I think he's using his arms well there, actually, to hold off Sherwood. And
he kicked it against him. No hands.
Oh, that's brilliant, isn't it?
It is.
Superb.
So Derby County, you feel sights on Europe, will finish 6th or better. What about Blackburn Rovers? What's your opinion of them?
Well, unfortunately, Man United are there. I mean, I was quite impressed with them today. They played very well and looked a good team.
Can they finish higher than 3rd or 2nd? Are they a title side?
I would think, well, I don't think they'll win it. I think Man United will win it. But they'll be up in the top 4 for what I've seen this season.
You see, we shouldn't forget, we remind ourselves constantly, 2nd place opens the door to the Champions League right now.
Yeah,
so would they be happy with that from Roy Hodgson's first season in charge?
I would think so. In the top 4, I would think they would have been happy with before the season started. Now he wouldn't be happy to be 4 in the league. He wants to be 2nd or he wants to be 1st. But I don't think there's any chance of them being 1st, but every chance of them being 2nd, 3rd or 4th.
So this was a setback. Let's find out if it was a mortal blow to their title chances. Here is Roy Hodgson with George Gavin.
Roy, after the way you played, do you feel aggrieved to lose the match?
Well, you've got to score goals, haven't you? We didn't take our chances, and they didn't create that many, but the ones they created they took in no uncertain fashion. And the only thing that really disappoints me about the game is the 3rd goal, because I thought we worked so hard to give ourselves a chance to get back in here at 2-1 that to concede from the kick-off, you know, was really an unpardonable error. And of course we all accept it. We know we've done it, and that's the thing that really disappoints me about the game. We're going to lose some games, and at least it's good if you're going to lose them that you're not totally outplayed in the match.
Did you feel confident at half-time, coming back out at 2-0 down, that you could turn the game round?
Yeah, I thought we could still do it if we kept on playing the same type of football we played in the first half. I would have preferred not to have conceded that, you know, bad goal that we conceded just on the stroke of half-time. Had we come in at 1-0, I would have, you know, really fancied our chances of turning it around, even to go so far as to winning the game. At 2-0 was going to be difficult against a well-organised and a counter-attacking team, albeit the Derby were playing at home. So we knew we were going to have to work very hard to get our goal. We missed 2 very good chances before Chris put us back in it, but we shot ourselves in the foot, of course, at the other end by going 3-1 down. And when that happens, you know it's not your day.
With Sutton and Gallagher playing so well, it's unusual not to take your chances this season, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Chris was denied a few times by the goalkeeper. He set Stefan Heinzer up brilliantly, really, for a striker goal. He set Kevin up brilliantly. I thought that we should have scored 3 goals in the game, but we didn't, and they did, so I congratulate them on their victory. And we must now learn our lesson from this game and make sure that we get back on the winning trail as soon as possible.
Sure, Derby take the 3 points, but are the real winners today Manchester United? 7 points clear?
Yeah, they're well clear, but I mean, the fact is there was a time, I think, that when Blackburn won the championship that they were 12 points clear, and I think Derek Fazackley told me that Newcastle were once 14 points clear. That's the only hope we've got. I'm not suggesting that Manchester United will collapse in the way maybe that Newcastle and Blackburn did on those occasions, but we can live in hope, can't we?
Roy, thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
You must. Action from the First Division now.